We are vastly superior to humans. You know it to be true, so do not resist us. Coming to you live by a tape-delayed basis by means of digital distribution. This is Extreme Hardcore Nerds. Here are your hosts.
Ready, set, game on.
Now, up for trial, Darksiders 2.
Oh yeah.
Death returns.
Death comes. This is the first time. We haven't seen any of the other Darksiders, remember?
He was in the first one, very briefly, but he was there. I remember him. I swear I saw him in like a cutscene.
I thought he was in the cutscene.
I don't remember seeing him in the cutscene, or even him talk. There might have been a cutscene of like the shadow version of him, but I never actually saw him.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
just kind of like in this one. Yay!
Oh, so it's that great? Okay.
Oh, it's also great. So once again, I'm the one on the chopping block to play Darksiders, as I did the first time. So I'll be giving all the.
Yeah, but we didn't review the first one.
Exactly. For obvious reasons.
Well, didn't the first one come out before that we started doing this?
Yeah.
That's the obvious reason. So, once again, I'm going back in with a spoonful of, hey, try this one more time.
Hey.
You were the only one that was of us that was actually somewhat excited for this.
How was I excited?
Because you're like, ooh, Darksiders 2. Well, it's got to be better than the first one. All right, I'll play it.
I'm pretty sure I never said those words at all.
I may be paraphrasing, but it's something that's close to that effect.
Ooh, okay. So, once again, as Andrew's already said, we're back into the world of Darksiders, and this time around, we're going with the big brother, Death. And yes, story is pretty much all there once again. During the time, of course, the story for this is during the whole trial with war going on, and his whole little debacle of being possibly involved in the apocalypse of all humanity, as why war would care for that, I don't know. Death decides that he wants to help his brother because there's a big family relationship when it comes to, the harbingers of all the destruction that is.
Right.
And he decides to ride off and find a way to resurrect humanity, to absolve his brother of the crime in the eyes of the Charred Council. And that is pretty much how the story ensues. Death is launched not onto Earth, but onto another planet that is more or less is filled with the people responsible for creating all of the other planets, more or less. Not God themselves, but more or less the workers of God. And their world is dying, being infected by the corruption that seems to be destroying their world and just making everything a living nightmare. And more or less, Death is tasked or burdened with the job of getting rid of the corruption and making his way to the Tree of Life to try and find the secrets to resurrect humanity. Gameplay-wise, we're back on the same palette again of playing with the original Darksiders, X and of only a two-button combo system, X and Y. We're also on the same scheme of one primary, one secondary weapon. Though this time around they didn't go strictly with their God of War-esque like palette and gameplay style and the Zelda take. They actually added more RPG elements into it this time around. While, as always, the scythe will be your primary weapon. You won't be able to change that. Same way with War, his giant sword being his primary weapon. This time around, though, you will get you can pick up different kinds of size this time around. So this is where a lot of people were making the comment of a Diablo aspect. This is where the Diablo part comes in. Prepare to pick up everything. Enemies will drop items non-stop through this game. So
great, you're a loot whore.
Oh yeah, you will be doing that a lot, and you will also be selling off those items pretty frequently because I do not believe you can increase your inventory, so it fills up. So changing out from different kinds of size, more or less different power levels, as well as special attributes. So lightning-based attack, fire, ice, all of that stuff, critical hits increasing, all of that great thing. And that also plays well into his secondary weapons as well. So instead of this time around getting just one particular kind of progression weapon, you'll get a multitude of weapons you can choose from with glaives, hammers, axes, bracers, bladed arm blades, all kinds of fun-loving toys to play with. So you kind of get you get a nicer sense of not just being tied down to one or two kinds of weapons you get to choose from. Death is also much more versatile than his brother War. The combo system is much more fluid, I would say, this time around. So it doesn't feel so just by the buttons of, just by the numbers of these are the combos you can do no matter what. There really isn't a feel of just, well, if I press this in between a set of a combo, he'll just continue the combo and then he'll stop because there is no other button for that, or that button doesn't work in this sequence. Death actually will just start up another combo or keep going on. So you can actually move into each combo very, very fluidly and really nicely. He's also faster than his brother, so a little bit more acrobatic. This is a dodge-centric game. He does not, unlike his brother, he doesn't have a block button, so you got to learn to use that dodge mechanic because enemies in here are ruthless. They will kill you, and they will kill you very easily and very often. So get used to that. This is like the last game with the Zelda gameplay to it. Very open world, going from doing a lot of backtracking, going from one area to the next. Most of they've added in side quests in here too as well. Most of those will involve mainly. A fair amount of them are fetch quests. There are some assassination quests you can get right off the get-go, but a fair amount of time it's usually collect these few things and I'll make something for you, or I lost this item, can you go get me some? Or it's usually a lot of that. So I'm not too far into the game, maybe 3 hours, and most of the quests I've done have just basically been, well, if this side quest is along the main mission quest, I'm going to do that as well. I was trying to sort out where I want to go from with that. I will say the one nice added-on thing about with the amounts of items you get, Death also can pick up possessed weapons, and these weapons are upgradable. Not every weapon is a possessed weapon though, so they're kind of like the rare weapons you'll find every now and then. And with those, you can basically sacrifice other weapons and armaments you get to that to make it stronger. I'm not 100% sure how the system works on that yet. It seems that a few attributes of what I sacrifice to it do get added to the weapon. Okay. And then every now and then with each level upgrade for it, I will get a choice of you can add this to it, or you can add this to it, or you can add this to it. And usually that's like an increase of strength, or now you have the chance to do, or the chance to deflect attacks, or the chance to possibly raise the chance of doing a critical hit. Okay. So another little fun-loving RPG aspect that they added to the game. I have not made it to any of the big enemies yet for the game, though. It does have some of the same kinds of gameplay style for God of War and how the bosses will fight. So it's usually the enemy will have some kind of weakness. You have to exploit the weakness, attack the enemy when they're down or paralyzed or something. So a lot of them will play out to that strength, as well as a lot of the gameplay's level design. So expect some platforming, some wall crawling, some a few of the same standard kind of puzzles, especially the giant boulder puzzle, which is always fun. Of just roll the ball to the pleasure plate and then wait for the door to open and go through. Those are generally fun. That definitely plays into a later talk of some of the grievances of the game. The art for the game is pretty much the same as the previous art for the game. Same artist, Joe Quesada? I can't remember how to say his last name. But the artist who does gloves. No, not Power Gloves. I can't remember the name of that comic, but a very well-known artist did the artwork for this. Same kind of color palette, though this time around I do like a little bit more natural tones for some of the other things. The world doesn't look as bright. I'm happy for that. So that really odd 10 I had for Darksiders 1 isn't there this time around. So I'm not wondering, like, why is the world destroyed and everything's sad, but yet it's a bright and sunny day? That kind of played me in a really odd way. Probably going to get into the presentation. Definitely for war, or definitely a difference between with war and death. Death is also upgradable, so it's going to play a little bit into the Dante's Inferno kind of gameplay for leveling. So it is choosing one side or the other, really. I also made the mistake as well with my friend of trying to mix and match, and then I realized you kind of can't do that. He doesn't upgrade very often, and when he does, you can only upgrade one thing. So while the list isn't big, it doesn't mean that you're going to be just rolling through this stuff very often. And you have a choice of being either the Harbinger, and that's usually your more melee-centric attacks, so more of specialized attacks to use the scythe with, more heavy damage attacks, increasing your strength or your critical hits. And then there's the Necromancer, which is more of his power-based attacks, so summoning minions to help fight for you, summoning a murder of crows to attack enemies with you.
That sounds to me just like Diablo.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of Diablo elements in there, especially on that side. So you'll be spending a bit of a time in the menu system, which isn't too cumbersome. Maybe a little slow in the switching, but at all pretty easy to navigate. Nothing too. It's not Reckoning kind of crazy.
Okay.
So press circle twice. You're back out in the main game. You can go. You don't have to worry about, oh, where was I just at? So pretty easy stuff there. A few of the grievances I did have, the camera is not your friend. There is a little bit of a slug to the camera, which is not good for a character who's very acrobatic and moves a lot, and that's how his gameplay style is supposed to be. And having it's right in that close range of close enough to the character close enough but far away that another person or another body can pass over in front of the camera and block the character.
Okay.
And while not happening constantly, it does happen frequently enough that it will become very annoying, and when you're in the middle of a fight and you don't know where your character is, that's probably not the best place to be in. So I did notice a few times when I was just trying to roll out of combat or just infrequently move the camera so I could get around and see my character, he would actually disappear from my screen of view a few times. So just the sluggishness of the camera and just having it a little too close to the character doesn't help, especially when, just a few enemies on screen and you can easily lose your character. Not even like 5 or 6, like 3 or 4. Okay. And you're just, okay, I don't know where death is anymore. They got to roll out of combat to figure out where this guy is. So that can be a little bit of one of my only big concerning issues. Same kind of returning style. Since he's a horseman, he has his horse, Despair, to ride on. Again, you get another little companion, a crow, that you can use, and he's your unlike in the last game where you had more or less since the Joker, who would roll around with you and tell you things to do. Now the crow is basically your little guiding buddy, and you press in the left analog stick and he'll fly off in the path that you're supposed to follow. So pretty easy, not too hard to get lost in any of the maps this time too. So good stuff there all around. While I'm not very far in the game, I can't give a definite how long this is, but seemingly with the added additions of some of the side quests you can do, and I'm definitely sure that there will be, there is a, I believe an arena mode in there that I didn't get because I didn't buy the full game, I rented. The added arena mode that you can play in. I will say that there's probably enough to keep you in there for a good amount of time. I'm sure there's going to be some DLC on the way to round things out for the year, but all in all, I will definitely say that this one is a far vast improvement over the last game for me. being on a lot of levels. I've gotten used to the art style this time around, so I'm not so I don't know why this doesn't look anything like any of the art I've seen. It didn't also help that the very first thing one of my friends gave me was the art book for this game, and of course I started flipping through, and I'm like, wow, okay, that character doesn't look like this character, and this character is clearly differently drawn than that character. It's like, yeah, but it didn't irk me as bad this time around. Death himself is a lot more enjoyable to be around than his brother War. His very clear, cynical attitude to what's going on around him is very apparent, as in he always will seemingly have to mock any of the people who are requesting help from him, or you can clearly tell that he's calling you an idiot. One of the side quests you get is...
So he's a lot like me.
He's a lot like you in some way. Yeah, one of the side quests is you'll have to help this giant rock creature find these stones to eat because he's hungry, but he's sitting somewhere and just waiting for his master to come back. But he doesn't know when his master's coming back, and he doesn't know why his master left, and he doesn't even remember what his master looks like. But he's hungry and he needs to eat, and you're just like, and can't you leave? Yeah, but you don't. No. So you can clearly tell his pain of just having to deal with this thing. So yeah, you'll get a lot of fun out of him that way too. I would say for people looking back into the Darksiders franchise, it's a buy for you, because for sure you'll want to continue. The story does seem intriguing enough. I'm happy this time around for the fact that they actually do explain some things. We know of the four horsemen. They're actually a part of a race, so that's explained in there. They do tell you of that. They tell you what happened to their race and why they became the four horsemen.
Oh God!
So they actually explain some things in here. You're not just whatever. Okay, so stuff actually is a little bit more thought out, I seem. The presentation looks nice. The character design is fairly good and more than passable and acceptable in a lot of manners. Gameplay is definitely a lot better. It's not as stiff as the previous one. Having the ability to really make death in any way you kind of choose is a lot nicer as well. Having the added in the dungeon kind of crawling system in there makes things just a lot more fluid. So I'm definitely going to say for those who are probably new and want to maybe think of trying to pick it up, go ahead. I actually would not mind buying this myself. It seems a lot better than the previous one. I actually am having an a much more enjoyable time, even if I am gritting my teeth at something I would say some cheap kills from off-screen enemies that do piss me off every now and then. But if they are at least killing me, and it's not because of just something of I'm not paying attention anymore, or I just don't care, you've accomplished.
So the big question: do you need to play Darksiders 1?
No.
Okay. Save yourself that pain.
They will tell you right in the beginning that that your brother War is responsible for killing all of humanity, and he's on trial, and that's pretty much what you need to know. The only reason you might want to play 1 is if for like references to like the Charred Council, Vilgrim. I can't remember his name. Balthazar, the giant demon thing that you do all the work for in the last one. References to those characters might be the only reason you want to play the first game.
Okay.
But since, once again, you're on a totally different planet, so you won't be visiting the same places in here.
None of the same characters.
You probably won't be seeing the same characters. You won't be visiting some of the same kind of enemy types. So all over that. Also, fast travel system. No longer a weird stairway door platform thing. Just a simple go to map, choose place. You're there. Okay. Nice and easy.
Okay.
Questions, comments, concerns, clarifications, retractions, acknowledgements, updates, apologies. Anybody?
I would like an apology.
That's what I was.
I'm sorry that you decided not to come to the studio and join us, you lazy fuck. Anybody else?
I'm good.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And somebody's falling asleep over there, so.
No, I think he's just, yeah, whatever.
No, I'm awake.
Uh-huh.
Bueller? Bueller?
You think he's gonna get that?
No, I know it's not, but I want to say it anyway.
No. Famous Fueler's day off.
There you go.
What is Fueler?
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Famous Fueler's day off.
Who played Ferris Bueller?
I've seen some of the movie. My brother has it. I've seen some of that movie. I have not seen
You're
all of
the
it.
person who doesn't let them have the win. You just, well, how can I make sure you don't get it?
But I was right.
Yeah. close
Yes.
enough.
Fuck you all.
And with that wonderful enlightenment, that does bring this edition of the Extreme Hardcore Nerds podcast for a close this week. Thank you very much for joining us again, as we all know you do each and every week. And on the docket next week, we have Transformers Fall of Cybertron. So definitely tune in and get ready for that one. But with that having been said, I am, of course, your host, your all-knowing exalted one, your king of kings, Andy Kruger, and joining me this week.
Not a loyal servant, but somehow blood related to the original Reaper himself, the Dark Reaper, Stephanie Creighton.
And also with us this week,
Garrett.
Ferris Bueller.
Garrett.
And last but certainly not least, on Skype with us this week,
Gunner.
Gunner.
Peace!
Gunner.